My bra is off, my slippers are on. It's a rock and roll Friday night. Hello everyone, welcome back to Harry Makes Up. I hope you are all really well. I've been shopping. I went to Chanel recently and picked up the giant quad. I'm not gonna lie, I get very excited about things that are enlarged, stay with me, or things that are miniature. Might have started that intro. Okay, it's been a long day, but yes, anything miniature, anything enlarged is totally my jam. I've seen a lot of people swatching this and doing tutorials and I was like, I want to play it, I want to try it. So I've actually been out and I went to Chanel, and there's a few things from Chanel that I have that I've been loving for a long time now. And I just decided I'm going to spend like a ton of my own money. So this is not sponsored at all, and just buy a load of stuff from Chanel and do a full face of Chanel. Like sometimes I just enjoy doing a full face by one brand just to remind myself what I do love, what I might use different from another brand, and of course I wanted to test this out. For size, this is, I mean, it is a beast. Like I just love as well that now I have, oh my goodness, a full size mirror. So we're definitely going to play with this. To start with, I'm going to need some moisturizer. I actually got some samples because I brought so much Chanel. So maybe let's use a bit of the Sublimage cream. One thing from Chanel I've been using for a long time that I really love, and it is the Le Beige Touche de Ton, the Water Fresh Complexion Touch. This one has a bit more coverage than the one in the square tube. So let's start with this moisturizer, which I have to say, feels very lovely. Feels really nice. Oh, it smells so good. I know a lot of people don't like fragrance, but if you do, I think the Chanel fragrance is still one of my favorites. Okay, so moisturizer on. I've tried this before. I love it. I think this was in my last like 5 things I'm loving, or I did like a little high-low edit on my Instagram. So I'm gonna go in with this. So you can see it kind of has like the little balls in them, and then when you use it on the skin they kind of burst. I'm wearing the shade B30, which for me is kind of like my summer tone, I would say right now, but I think it definitely gives a little bit more coverage than the one that comes in the square bottle with the kind of beads that burst. I love it with that moisturizer on underneath. Actually, that is really lovely. Do have a tiny bit of waterproof mascara on that I couldn't be asked to take off, so I figured I would just leave it on. My bra is off, my slippers are on. It's a rock and roll Friday night. I'm going to take a little bit of that over my eye. I just wanted everyone to be able to see this because I've had a lot of questions about it and I don't know if I've used it in a tutorial or not yet. So that's the coverage of it on. This is only 20 ml, but it's lasted me so long and I've been using this like pretty much every other day. So that is B30. I probably could warm up my neck a little bit, but like I said, it's Friday night, we're just being lazy. So one thing I did buy that is new to me from Chanel is the Stilo Ombre A Contour. It's like the eye crayon, because I thought this shade, which apparently is the shade that Sophia Richie wore on her wedding day. I know we've all been Googling that. This is the shade Contour Clair, and it's a matte crayon. And I just thought, oh, this looks right up my street. I actually felt like it looked more warm. So I want to put this on. I'm going to use it as like an eye base for the powder shadows. So I'm going to start with this all over my lids as like an eye base all over the lid. As I apply it, it starts to look more greigey. Okay, that actually blends really nicely. So I'm just shearing that out, ironically, with a Chanel makeup brush. Again, I promise, not sponsored. But that is a really nice color. I feel like it almost has quite like a 90s smoky vibe. Definitely gonna be keeping that. I literally brought this today, and I'm gonna do a little bit of that under the lash line as well. Kind of like how pointy this Stilo is. I wonder if this is going to be one of those colors like matte groundwork where it kind of goes more like mauvey on some people, because I know for me matte groundwork does that. It almost leans more cool tone on me. There's almost like a tinge more warm, but I do like it. It feels like a really good neutral. Okay, so that is the eye crayon on. I actually really like that. I like the size. I like that it kind of has a little bit of a point to it. It feels like now it's kind of dried in place, so I feel like that locks in very nicely. Let's use the thing I'm most excited about. I really want to play with this. So I think I'm going to start with this shade first. I've heard these are quite sheer, so I don't even know how much this is going to show up, this color, when I put it on top. But I just figured I would use it to kind of set the crayon. So this palette is the blush and eyeshadow one, and it's the shade 957. And again, I know to a lot of people this might be one of those colors that seems kind of like a boring color, but I actually think these are the kind of colors, like definitely this sort of shade for me is definitely like a go-to. I'm gonna do my concealer in a bit because I want this to be able to blend out. Really enjoying that. Let's start to have some fun. So let's mix a bit of these into the creased. So already the first thing I'm noticing, like I can see the colors coming through. If you want it to be quite full, oh no, the pigment's coming now. I feel like you'd have to use quite a bit of pressure to really get, like, for example, if you want it to be this color, you're gonna have to use a lot of pressure. But I also think if you like the idea of like adding reds into your look and you're kind of scared of going too far too quickly, this would actually make this very easy. Love this skin. I feel like that moisturizer, that was really good. That was the Sublimage moisturizer. Gonna take a bigger brush just to do a quick blend. Definitely a softness. I'm gonna take, this shade is more of like a highlightery shade, but there's definitely still, if I swatch it for you, still a kind of like opalescent, which I might actually just add to the inner corner because I think it will be nice with the contrast of the matte. Just adding a tinge of shimmer into the inner corner. Chanel lip balm. I have to say this is very, very chic actually. I do think as well these pots would be really good to like repurpose when they're all done. Like I could use a simple moisturizer in it, or a little travel bag. This is really nice actually, the lip balm. This is the Hydra Beauty lip balm. It feels very, very nice. I don't have concealer in my shade from Chanel. That's the one thing I don't have, but maybe let's go to brows. You know how I like to do everything back to front. So I'm gonna take, this was new that I picked up from Chanel. It's the waterproof brow pencil, and this is in the shade Brun Clair, which is 808. So I'm just gonna go with this. Smidge warmer than maybe what I'd normally go for. I think I can get away with it. It definitely looked more greigey in the store, but I think I can make it work. So I like that the slant is like a very, it's a good shape. We like the shape of this. Brow pencil. It looks better actually the more I'm wearing it. One thing I did pick up, which I think I remember from when Lucia Pica did the #1 Rouge collection, and I thought it had been discontinued, but it wasn't. At least I think this was the shade that existed. Brun Agape. It's the one that's like the shimmery dark brown. Oh my goodness. And it's one of the waterproof ones. I've got such slippery hands, I can't get it off. But I remember this being such a good color, and when I realized that was still something they do, you do a little swatchy swatch. It's like a shimmery, I mean, we know it. It's like the kind of color that Harry will always buy as a liquid liner. And again, there's almost like a purpliness to it. So I think it's really, really pretty with these kind of like pinky, sort of like maroon shades. So I'm just gonna start by like using this as a base all along the lash line. I'm just kind of smudging that in. I'm gonna do a little bit in like really, really gently on the lower lash line. I'm just gonna trace it into like where the roots of the lashes are. And then I'm just smudging it out with a Kevyn Aucoin brush, just so there's a little bit of something. So you can see it almost has like a kind of mauviness to it within the brown, but oh, it's just such a good color. And I'm actually gonna tightline with this as well, because I do love this in the waterline. And I'm gonna do top and bottom waterline with this. It's that little bit softer than a black, but it definitely just adds a little bit more depth to the lashes in a very natural way. So now we've got a little bit more definition, but I do like the fact this makes it that little bit more smoky with a very kind of soft tone, reddy brown. And then I did buy the clear brown mascara to see how that is. So it comes out like that. The gel on it feels clear. It's actually quite nice in that not loads comes out. It doesn't feel like I need a tissue to kind of wipe the excess off. I just do this here so you can see. Not too bad actually. This is the clear one. They come in colors. I think there's like a couple of different shades they do too. Okay, I'm just gonna do a little bit more shading here, and then I am going to curl my eyelashes. I do quite enjoy doing like an extra curl when I've had mascara on already in the day, because it just locks it into place. You just have to be super careful when you release the eyelashes. So I'm going to tilt and you'll see the difference. See? Ooh, There we go. Sometimes you don't even need to add more mascara, but I do think this trick works really, really well for just like making the eyes pop again. Ooh, there we go. So one thing I did pick up, you guys know I love my Thrive Cosmetics liquid lash extensions. I used to be obsessed with Chanel, what is it? The waterproof Volume de Chanel. And I picked it up again and it is good. I forgot how much I actually love this because I feel like it is volumizing, but it still manages to separate where you want it to. And it's funny, I'm so used to having so much length now with the liquid lash extensions from Thrive that I was like, oh, I forgot what it's like to have more volume. Okay, anytime you get a little dot of mascara, just leave it to dry completely before you try and remove it. That's one of the most important things to know with mascara. I'm just going to do another coat on top so it looks really black and there's more volume. Oh, lashes for days. I'm gonna do a little bit on the bottom as well because this mascara I actually really love on the bottom lash line. Okay, I'm just gonna let that mascara dry before I go to remove any little bits that I got that shouldn't be there. See how well the brow hairs have held. Not the best, not the worst. Definitely not as good as the Got To Be. That is still the best one. I don't have a Chanel concealer because they didn't have my shade. So I'm gonna use my Shiseido Light 201. Now that the mascara is dry with a Q-tip, and this is just a dry Q-tip as well, there's not any, see how easy it just comes off when it's dry. So I'm gonna do a little bit of concealer now. This is the Shiseido one. And to do kind of like a couple of dots. ColourPop brush, still one of my favorites. I actually really like how subtle the kind of pinky, corally red is with the kind of greigey browns. I actually think this is very wearable and you could, I think you definitely could make it more like impact. I've seen people like go in solidly with these colors. I just wanted to see like, how would I wear this palette? I feel like it's the hints of like the red that I actually think is really, really pretty. A little bit of concealer. I have my little spot here, which we're just gonna leave. We're gonna let him do his own thing. What comes next, I hear you ask? Again, I wanted to try these as blushes, so I do need a little bit of powder. Okay, who remembers this Le Beige powder? I got this out and this is shade 30, so it is gonna be a little bit warm, but I was like, let's try and use that as my powder. If I'm trying to do a whole face of Chanel, let's try it. I think these act almost like a bronzer, unless you're gonna go for like a shade that is much lighter, but they smell glorious. So I'm just gonna use this to set, and I think it's gonna kind of warm me up as well at the same time. I'm hoping it'll like act as a nice base for these, which I'm gonna put on. Let's see if this one even shows up as a blush. I'm just curious. Ooh, hello. It's actually like quite soft. I'm gonna add in, whoops, some of the more corally shade because I think that's gonna be one I wear a lot for summer actually. I like this. Really pretty. I haven't really done any kind of bronze on my forehead, but I like the idea as well, like as you get more of a tan, you could kind of go in with the deeper tone just to give it a little pop. But I actually think those coral tones are really, really pretty. These as blushes, love. And I do think I will use them a lot actually. It's kind of like an eyeshadow blush combo. So this was something I brought a while back actually from Chanel. And I think it's either part of this collection or was part of the previous one. And it is the multiple sticks, the Balm Essential in Soleil. I'll put it in the show notes so you guys can see what it is. Show notes, I'm so used to doing podcasts now. And I'm gonna do this almost like over the blush and to act as like more of a highlight. But it has this really gorgeous glossy, almost reminds me actually of like NARS Orgasm. But yes, I will put everything I'm using in the description box. I feel like that really just makes everything pop a little bit more actually, which I quite like. And I do like a mix of kind of creams with powder. I'm gonna really push it into my skin because I know when I first got this, I did use it and I tried to use it like the highlighter where I kind of just put it on top of my cheekbones and I almost hadn't blended it enough and I could see it sitting on the skin. So I do think with this, it like really needs the warmth of your fingers to press it in. Such a pretty color. It's like a highlighter with a bit of a blush tone. I'm just gonna blot off my lip balm now. I don't have the famous Sophia Richie lip balm, which I know everyone was probably hoping to see, but I'm sure it's gone so viral now that you've seen it on many people. I don't have a lip balm, so I think I'm just gonna use a little bit of my eyebrow pencil, funny enough, just to do a little like secret lip contour. So I'm just gonna do a little bit. Like this is kind of one of those like go-to MUA tips where if you don't have a lip pencil, just use a tiny bit of like a neutral brow. And again, the trick is you just want to blend it. So for it to look secret, I'm just doing it so it just like enhances the shadow a little bit. And I can use this to contour a little bit as well on the outer corners. Very, very subtle. So hopefully you can just see that gives like a little bit of an extra, very, very secret, very subtle lip line. The lipstick I'm going to use, which I'm obsessed with, is Rouges Yeux Et Jeues, the ones that are refillable. And this is 812. I think that is the shade. And I'm obsessed with this. It's so good. I think this has actually replaced Adrienne for me. It's like my new favorite Chanel lipstick. And again, I'm just gonna make sure I go over the areas where I did the lip liner with the brows. Such a good color though, and it's so comfortable. Really, really do love this though. I feel like it's gonna be one of those things a lot of people are gonna feel like, no, I want it super pigmented. If you want something super, super pigmented, I would go like Pat McGrath route. I feel like if you love a kind of natural makeup look that's just like a hint of something, this is it. I do really, really love it. And I'm not gonna lie, who doesn't love the giant Chanel package? Just super fun to go shopping at Chanel. There's a really good beauty store near me where it just does makeup. And I just found it so fun to go in and be a customer, try out some of the new things, but also think about, oh, if I was gonna go home and do a full face of Chanel, what do I already have that I absolutely love? So I definitely think this is 100% a win. I love this, the Stilo crayon, because I think it also doubles up as like a great eye primer. Obviously the lipstick. I think the brow, I'll use it, but it's probably not my go-to, and same with the brow gel. I feel like the brow gel, not so much. However, this, I love this. This is so, so good. It was just fun for me, like I said, to just play with some bits of Chanel, and just I wanted to see what this was like. This was like a gift to myself. So let me know if you've tried any of these products, what your thoughts are around Chanel beauty, what your favorites are, maybe your hits and misses. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you soon for more videos.